Hello and welcome back to Hero Wars Guide. In this video we're going to take a look at the spending options in the Wins from the East event. However, if 2024 sticks to the trend of prior years, this will be exactly the same event as we will see in Time to Love and Ode to Beauty. Those are ordinarily carbon copies of this exact same event format. To start out at a really high level, I want to say that this event is a pretty bad one to fully max out. However, there are some really nice values to be had if you do kind of put these tasks at just the right level for each one of them. Alright, then for a little more detail, I want to make 4 main points about the tasks in this event. First up, the Buy Emeralds rewards are very weak. Almost all the other events that have a Buy Emeralds task will pay out a third or so, and this is lower than that. So generally speaking, unless there's a 4x sale or a 5x happening to go on at the same time as this event, you'll want to zero that one out. Alright, then second main point is this Spend Emeralds task. Only goes up to 60,000, which is lower than most events, but the payout, and you can't quite see it here I suppose, but the payout for completing each milestone of this task is these Hero Soul boxes, each box with 5 Soul Stones. Now, unless you're a brand new account who's just really chasing after one of these particular heroes and you don't have any other way to get at them, which maybe would apply for Jet, but generally speaking, that's a very low quality reward type. The ROI number is not even very good, even given that low quality reward type. And even if you are really die-hard about one of those heroes, I think you should just hold out and get them at a better opportunity rather than having to spend all these emeralds. In fact, I've yet to tune down the emerald value of Hero Soul Stones, but maybe I'll take a second to go do that. So they're valued by 25 by default, and that's because they exchange for 100 shop coins, and 100 shop coins typically buys about 25 emeralds worth of item fragments. However, if you've been playing this game for a while like I have somewhere in the realm of a couple 100,000 soul coins just from all the various tasks that have had us open up those soul boxes that have been relatively easy to get through a lot of different methods. So I'm going to actually apply an override to mark that down to 1/10 of the ordinary value. Alright, so now we're back on the event screen, and it's really making clear that this is an undesirable task. I'm probably getting a little long-winded here, but the summary of this second point is that you want to spend as few emeralds as possible while making some progress in these other tasks. I'm going to set it down to the free-to-play level of activity to give us a nice starting point. What we're looking at now is based on getting a 4th day out of the event, which I'm going to leave configured. I think a pretty good percentage of my viewers are in the US or Canada, and then at least if they're web players, they will be well positioned to get the extra day. And it is starting out with 500 free energy based on what we typically get from the community page. However, this event itself pays out 1,500, so that's going to bump up to 2,000. Alright, so then we should be able to get a little bit farther in the Spend Energy task for free. Alright, and that's helping us get into the third point, which is that the rewards for the Spend Energy task are really nice within this event. It's not the absolute highest. I think Summerfest and maybe a couple of others are a little bit better, but it's well above average, and it's paying skin stones. And if you remember back to the last point, we don't want to spend emeralds during this event. So that makes this better than most events as an opportunity to open any bottled energy reserves you may have. So I'm going to move the free energy up to maybe 7,000. And that's going to let us finish out this task, maybe with some minimal amount of purchases into the 100 category. The purchases of 50 energy per day are pretty good. So the exact number that you want to leave to emeralds as opposed to bottles is up to you, but something like this could make sense. And one note for the 2024 occurrence of this event is that it will overlap in its final day with Guardians of Outland, so any bottled energy that you do consume you'll probably want to do in the last day of this event. Okay, so this may not look exactly the same for everyone, but that maybe is where I'd leave it at. But then lastly, this Outland task has some really nice payouts And this is one that just happens with the number of days that we have in this event, and where these milestones for the number of Outland chests that you need to open, where those all lie. It really pays big to have an extra day out of this event. That's going to be true at I think all of the milestones, but then especially at this last one, if you do have the extra day, you can complete it without opening any chests at that 4,500 level, since you can open up 21 a day using only this 200 tier. So it's 113% fully maxed out now. If I disable the extra day out of the event, then that drops considerably down. And some of these earlier milestones will not look as good either. So if you can, really try to get that extra day out of the Winds from the East and Ode to Beauty and Time to Love as well. But yeah, then, spending some emeralds here, you'll see really strong numbers in the ROI. I think all the way up, but particularly high at some of these earlier thresholds. And as I backed in, it left the spend emeralds a little bit higher, but if I set that back down according to where we're at so far, then I'm spending only 2,500 emeralds and getting more than that in return, and I think that's going to go up slightly, before it goes down. But even all the way at the point where we're spending 7,200, we're getting 1.5 times that back, almost exclusively in the form of skin stones. I guess I shouldn't say back, we're not getting anything back, but we get that payout as an additional reward. All right, and then so those are the 4 main points. I'll wrap up talking about people free to play or close to free to play. That 7,200, even that is going to be kind of a lot to spend on an individual event. So I just want to reiterate the point that with a really low spend, you can get some really nice percentage at just opening, maybe a couple of Outland chests. And also, one final point that maybe doesn't apply to tons of people, but since again this is an event where you're looking to minimize your emerald spend, that makes this one better than most for maybe if you have any boss fights left to do in the Outland, if you haven't already beaten all the 160 bosses, then since you want to do as many Outland chests for as low cost in this event, even more than usual, that makes this event structure a really good one to use some of those fights. All right, I know a lot of people in the community in general are talking about this being a particularly bad event, but hopefully this gives you a little bit of a different way to look at it and do get some value out of this one. Okay, thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you again next time.